Boys is getting quiet. Go on and get crunk. Head back to Longview, Kelly popping trunk. I ain't even tripping. Riding and I'm sipping. Let me come through, 4-4, steady tipping. On that new lap. Watch the trunk crack. Let me sit sideways, CB running back. Maybe AP, maybe AD. I ain't even tripping cause we some athletes. Messing with Smitty in the summertime. He get pissed if we don't make our time. But we gon' get it, cause we gotta finish. Nebraska Horn Hustlers, man, we diminished. Put them boys little, paint like a skittle. I ain't even tripping, I ain't never double dribble. Cause I'm a player from the Himalaya. Let me sit sideways, man. Maybe back door, maybe fall off. Sipping codeine cause I gotta kill a cough. Let me sit sideways in the big Benz. Oh, you boys, they my brothers, they my friends.
All right. Welcome into Fullback U, and had to get a Coach Jarrail Jackson back in to see how, what he thought of the team and everything. So, Coach, how you feeling?
Man, I'm good, man. It's good. It's good to come on here after the win, 2 wins in a row. So it's been pretty good. How you doing? I'm
doing good, man. Me and you kind of talked off air, but it was a good win for the guys. Just an okay win. It wasn't anything extraordinary. We're gonna get into everything, but do you give me your initial breakdown? How do you feel after a game like that? What do you tell the team if you're the head coach?
After a game like that, just tell them, hey, good win. We got some stuff. We got some stuff we got to work on. Just continue to build. Can't get too high. TCU ain't TCU. But a win is a win for those guys. And they did a good job of playing 4 quarters and closing it out. Still got a lot of mistakes in that secondary. Like Leach always said, you either coaching or allowing it to happen. Like, we still getting too many penalties, man. And the thing I got to say, I don't talk bad about nobody, but 44, Booby Rouse, like, he got to have something. He got to have something on the coaches. And it's not the fact that, because every week he does something like dumb. He get a personal foul. He does something just to bring attention to himself. Like, and it's every week. And it got to be somebody else better that you can play, because they've made some adjustments in the secondary, which has been pretty good. But he still is the weak link, just like this touchdown. He 5'9". They threw a touchdown on top of him. So, I like the kid. But when you get run over, you get your helmet knocked off, go to the sideline, man. Do run you over. Don't talk noise. I think one of the commentators said something, he does something every week to where he gets a personal foul. He brings attention to himself. So, other than that, I think Lincoln got back to being Lincoln. Pushing the ball down the field. They did throw the ball down the field a lot. You finally saw the receivers get open, but TCU played a lot of man-to-man, but you did see those guys get open. I think Mills is going to be a star and continue to rise. I think Theo White's trying to kind of hit his stride. I think Rambo's kind of fell off. Been the guy that now he's just kind of complimentary guy. But I think Mims and Theo stepped up. I think with Pledger coming back, those guys are playing physical, and stuff like that. But like I said, I think he got back to being Lincoln for the first time in the year and a half.
I think people thought we were joking when we talked about split backs and putting a fullback in the game, and then we hit a fullback counter for about 20 yards on the first or second play of the game. And, that stuff works, man. You get a dominant run set out there. You get your guys to really latch on to somebody, get some movement, and it's amazing. Man, I'm with you, Coach. I like Buki too, man. I like his energy. I like everything. But he's got to clean up those things, man. You can't – if you want to be the leader – you can't have mistakes. You got to play mistake-free football or close to it. And you should be leading the right way. You should be knocking other people's helmet off, not getting yours knocked off. You should be making plays on the ball, not letting people moss on you whenever you got to understand what he is and what people are going to go after. And, the offensive coordinator Lincoln should be his best friend in talking about matchups and mismatches and what people are thinking and what's going to happen here and why are they going to pick on me here and there. I thought other things, man, was just some of the tackling, man. We went back to kind of, I don't even know. There's one thing, Jarrail, and I get it. Because I see it a lot on every level, but I get if you miss tackles, if you fall off of them and you grab at them or something. But, man, we got people that just go in there with their shoulders at times. And they just
they
don't even try. Go ahead.
And they'll wrap up, man. And I think it's going to come. It came back and caught him a couple times. And here's what I'm interested. TCU was over with. Good game. Texas, well, that was over with. Good game. Now, how you respond when you go to Texas Tech where they're gonna have some big receivers. They're gonna throw the football over the top. That's kind of what I want to see out of those guys. But you're right. The tackling is bad, man. TCU don't have those explosive guys they had before, because if they did, it probably could have been a good a better game. I just think that's something that got to be told. Like once again, to come back to either you teaching or you're allowing it to happen. So I think they got to go back to the basics and wrap up. They feeling good about themselves, which they should. They got one good quality win. I ain't gonna give them Texas a quality win. They got one good quality win. But the biggest thing that they need to do is, man, they need to go back and self-reflect and see what they did wrong and keep rolling. They're young, but some of those guys didn't play, though, like the Parkers and those guys that are missing those tackles at the end of the game. Go ahead, wrap up. They got a little sloppy again in the fourth quarter, allowing that touchdown. TCU was just, I think, in give-up mode by then. So they were just holding on. But, yeah, you're right. They got to wrap up. And you are right about putting a fullback. I did put a fullback in the scrimmage the other day.
My man.
We ran ISO zone and smash guys. We ran power wide. So, I have put a fullback in for me now. And, he catch a bunch of balls, though. You probably like it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm sitting here watching a couple of NFL games, and I was just thinking to myself, it's funny, and I'm guilty of it too. My little league team is in the gun, and every quarterback in the NFL under center, you know what I'm saying? They ain't trying to get hurt. They ain't trying to get in, and I get it. And, the Cowboys are just trying to, get any yards they can. Just they running jet sweeps to Amari Cooper. I mean, stuff he's never done.
Hey, they on struggle bus right there, man. Yeah. That's. They need to bring Bob in over there to clean it up.
That'd be nice. Well, I mean, let's go to the offense. I mean, you mentioned, seeing some of the receivers out there. I was pretty happy to see. I mean, I think we were like 58% run the other day. We were able to expand the field. I want to get your thoughts more in depth on Mims. What does he have to work on? I know Jarrail, as a freshman, I was nervous as hell playing out there. I mean, that kid don't look like playing as a freshman worries him. I was kind of like, don't throw me the ball. I'm worried I'm gonna drop this shit. He like, I got it. I mean, is he a different breed? What's up?
I think the deal. I think what they did was they got back to run the football. They punished. They, like you said, they had the fullback. They punished him. They did what he did a couple years ago when he had those guys in the backfield. Was able with Sermon and was healthy and all those guys, and they had Demetri Flowers. He got back to being Lincoln. I think with Mims, he from there. He 20 minutes from the crib, 40 minutes from the crib. They played against a lot of those guys. They worked out with a lot of those guys with D-Rob and stuff down there. So I think that's just being at home. I think a lot of these kids that's coming up now, playing receiver and playing in the skill spot, they not really been in that spotlight and been in that pressure situation to where they step in and play. Now it's a different field. Now ain't no fans, so it's just like being in practice. So it's just like being in practice, catch the ball. Now, we catch them on a different night, different time when TCU is really rocking at night or that Texas game is really rocking, then you'll see how it really is. But I think the transition now, it's just like being in practice or playing in the park. You just got your family and friends up there that you playing in front of, so it makes the transition easy. I think he needs to just work on continue to get better in his route running, taking advantage of his speed, using it, getting in and out his breaks, using his hands and stuff like that. Don't just depend on his speed. He does a great job of catching the ball down the field, which is really good for him. And then punt return, he's doing a great job for those guys. So, like I said, I think right now the transition is great for a freshman because you're not playing in no hostile environment. It's just going to play. You're just going to practice. So if I'm a coach and I'm telling you we're going to field, hey, it's just a glorified practice with maybe 50, maybe with like 500 to 1,000 people there, but it's just a glorified practice, and they just go out there and take that practice mentality, and they playing. He's playing well, and then you saw Theo White start to step it up too. He's playing well, and I think a lot of that they both from Texas. They done played against those guys before, the bragging rights. So I think a lot of that had to do with those past two games.
Yeah, McGowan too. That's a great point. I didn't really think of that. Man, I know Lincoln watches this show because you're gonna be on here, so I'm gonna give my criticism. So well, not even a criticism, but for me, and you can tell me how you feel. But Jarrail, some of the easiest completions were just simple reads for him. We're just we're in split back. We cross it over with a Mikey freshman. He's a simple read in the flat. Simple throw. It's close to a first down, if not easier. It's reading, and then that just expands for your post route that you like to hit to Theo or to Rambo. I'm with you. I mean, Rambo to me's turned into a one route receiver, and we haven't even been able to hit him on post. And the one thing that I worry about is, do we have an explosive player besides Mims that can do something from 80 yards away? That to me is what separates good offenses from great offenses. What do you think on that?
Well, I think Lincoln did a good job of getting a young kid off to a good start. Was what you do, short passes, getting those guys instead of trying to hit the home run, getting them into the flow and the rhythm of going. I think he'll be he was creative of getting McGowan out on a wheel route and stuff like that. So I think he got some guys to work with, and I think he's just gonna do a good job just trying to find a way to get the ball in playmakers' hands. Mims and Theo Weiss, those backs, Pledger can catch out the backfield. We really didn't use the tight ends as much this week because I think TCU probably put their best defenders on the tight ends, and which is what you should do because that's been the kids' comfort zone. But I think he did. I think he got back to being Lincoln of old, putting the ball on the edge, letting those guys be playmakers, run the ball downhill. Because the kid at quarterback can throw. The thing I like about him is he don't have a problem running and get dirty. And those guys TCU had a blitz off the edge, had him dead to right. He spin out there and get 5 yards. So yeah. I think his relationship he got with Mims, I think is really, really building. So his confidence, I think he built a relationship with Theo. I think, with Rambo, it's just one of those deals, man, where when you only can run one route, it's kind of hard to kind of get you the football, because dudes can play over the top. I mean, they got scout reports too, so they play over top of them. But as far as explosive guys, they got some. You got to continue to just come up with creative ways of getting the ball in number one's hand, McGowan, keep giving Pledger the ball and those tight ends and continue to let those young receivers develop. Like I said, the great thing about it for Mims and Weiss is not a hostile environment. So it's just like practice. Just do what you do on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, on Saturdays, and you'll be fine. It ain't like when we play, you go down to TCU when they number 3 or number 4 in the country and that defense is rocking and that place at night is going crazy where you don't have to have that mindset. You go out there, it's empty. It's like playing in Baylor back in the day when wasn't nobody there. You got to get yourself ready to play.
One section. You talking noise to one section. Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta get yourself ready to play. So like I said, if that's anything to benefit for those young guys is, you not playing like they haven't had the experience to feel playing in Old Memorial was a big crowd and the expectation is really high. So I think it's really, really good. If I'm coaching them, if I'm Simmons and I'm Lincoln, I'm telling them, hey, just do what you did on Tuesday, Wednesday, on Saturday, and you're gonna be fine because it's basically the same thing, just with some referees and some points that count.
What'd you think of the D line? I thought D tackles, were the most active players on the field. Rotations were great. What'd you think?
I'm gonna tell you this. I think the last 2 games, I think Grinch finally realized he was at Oklahoma and got rid of the moving. Got rid of the slide and moving guys, just letting guys go straight up and play and beat their one-on-ones. Move very little, and it's paid off. Those guys playing stout up front because you have some guys, but in his everybody don't really know what his system is. I was at Washington State with him. He likes to move the line and slide the line, and that at some point hurts you because if you get blocked and get cut off on the backside, then you get run.
It's over.
But I think the Texas game and then this past game, I think he just let tip guys be tip guys, let them win their one-on-ones, and it worked out. They stopped the run, they got pressure back there, they got after him. So I think that was an adjustment that he did to, he realized, hey, I got some guys up front, they can get it done, and I think they played well. Yeah.
I thought we, aside from a few mental errors, I thought, obviously Asamoah got called out on one on TV on the goal line. They overload one side before he even reads it out. He's flowing over top and running back wide open hole, just basically walks in. There's some things, it's just like you kind of said. But, we definitely won on all 3 phases, especially with Mims with the punt return, controlling the field position. I don't want to look too far past Tech, but our schedule looks terrible from here on out. It's not very great. We've gotten the hard parts out of the way, aside from Most State. You know what I mean? And the Big 12 championship.
Yeah, but here's the deal. You look on Twitter, and them dudes back at it. You know what I'm saying? You back at it. You back at it. Hey, we back. You play Texas. We back at it. Hey, the videos you talking about, that's fine. But understand now, if you get hit up for 600 yards here at Texas Tech, then we're gonna be back on you.
Man.
And the Texas Tech game can scare you because those receivers are big. They throw the ball up and they play hard. They've won some close games. So if I was a DB or somebody in that secondary, I'm not on Twitter this week just because of the simple fact of what they bring. And I think offensively, I think it's gonna be a shootout. It's gonna be a shootout, and it's gonna come down to whoever make plays. I think in the secondary, they made some adjustments and they getting better. They competitive on ball, but we still getting unnecessary pass interference. And it's just like. Just not really are they understanding football? Like, should you go over the top, the ball's out of bounds, no need to hold, let it go. Or hold a little bit, let them go. They do it all the way through. So, but they making progress. And like I said, this past game was a complete game. Complete game as they can take it. So they should take it, be happy, come back, be ready to play.
I mean, you mentioned some of the things, and again, I'm not a DB, and I think Turner Yell's been playing one of the some of the best of any of our DBs. Aside, Jaden Davis, they had the post route that they called at the back of or almost called at the back of the end zone. There was a big play for call back for them. Turner Yell gives up the slant to the tight end, and then my man, I think, thinks Broyles is going to tackle him and just hits him with the shoulder, and they end up getting a 50, 60-yard play. I mean, those are plays that you and I, Jarrail, have seen that other play. Clemson, Alabama, they have a guy that you do that to them and it's a touchdown. The next guy's not going to tackle it at all.
Right.
And so for me, you can't put those, and I don't want to say you can't, but you have put those things on film. So it's now about clearing those things up because this is, how many tight ends in a row that we've seen, just moss on us and those types of things. So those type of mismatches aren't going anywhere, and that's what worries me the most.
Yeah, and I think that he just it gotta be somebody like else that you can play besides 48-4 because I think he's not a bad player. He just don't fit. You might need to look at a plan at like a Sam linebacker somewhere where he can roll the back or something like that because that tight end for TCU just mossed him, just threw it up top, and he caught a touchdown on top of him.
The receiver at the very beginning that ran the post corner.
Yeah, he dropped him off on a post. Like so, if I'm an OC and I'm going to this game and I throw the football, I'm gonna find a way to isolate him. We call him Nemo. Let's find Nemo. That's Nemo. So we would found him and just find a way to isolate him, and it's easily getting riled up and he's a good 15 yards and he does it all the time. But like I said, I think they're starting to play better. The one thing you don't want them to do, like I said, they started to play better. You just don't want them to start feeling themselves right now and they go out here and give up 800 yards versus Texas Tech and lose, because Texas Tech, it's gonna be a hard place to play in Lubbock. They gotta go play. It's gonna be a lot of those guys on the coaching staff was at Texas Tech, so it's gonna be a big game. But I just hope those guys continue to get better, continue to build. And just you gotta find a way to stop the little silly penalties in the secondary. That'll kill you. And this week, especially with those big receivers, 6 or 7 pass interference penalties gonna get you. It'll get you. I know we holler about speed D and all that, man, but play sound defense. Period. Play sound defense and get at it. Teach those guys the basics and let's play football.
Yeah, and it's gonna be it's gonna be a fundamental game. We know these things, but they're not gonna punt on 4th down if they pass the 30. I mean, they're not gonna. Dude, I don't know if you saw Texas the last game they played West Virginia. Their punter with all that wind kicked the damn thing 87 yards in the air.
Yeah,
went from end zone to end zone. I mean, it's a different atmosphere. It totally smells different, looks different. Then people don't care. Want to get your thoughts, man? What in the world is going on in the rest of college football, man? Ohio State, Nebraska was crazy. The SEC is crazy. What's up?
I just think the pandemic. Not having a lot of time, not having time to prepare and get at it. But you see the teams that prepare, got athletes, they still rolling. Alabama's still rolling. I think Mississippi State, Leach finding out right now, drop 8 in the Pac-12 and the SEC is different than drop 8 in the Pac-12. Dude's able to run with them and it's been hard for him. LSU, him and Bo Pelini got history. Bo Pelini, when he was at Texas Tech and he was at Nebraska, that was just an ego match. I'm gonna play man to man and he beat him. Now you start playing other dudes and that drop 8, them dudes coming there, they hitting you now, they getting after you. Yeah. So it's a different deal, man. I think you know, it was good to see the Big Ten back. You know, Penn State, you know, they had a little deal, but good win for Brandon Shelby. You know, and Indiana, B. Shell got a win. Arkansas playing well with Brad Davis and Coach Pittman. You know, they turned around. They turned around. And I think what you finding out now is the teams that's been hot before, like the UCFs and all those guys. Now, with no fans, no place, no surprise, you know, you getting a wake up call. Teams are able to play with you, and you know, people like Coastal Carolina, man, are playing well, 5-0. Beating a couple teams. So it's going to be interesting coming down the stretch of what's going to happen, especially with the Pac-12 and the Big Ten starting so late, you know, and the expectation they have with the coronavirus. If one kid catches it, he basically done for the year.
Man.
But the SEC, man, it's going to be what it's going to be, man. You know, Alabama lost their best receiver in Waddle, and they still rolling. So it's going to be what it is. It's going to come down. It's going to be Alabama, Clemson. Probably see a Notre Dame slide in there, just depending on how well Notre Dame do versus Clemson. It won't be a Big 12 team.
No chance.
Nah, no chance. Won't be a Big 12 team. Who gonna be? Oklahoma State?
Well, let's just pretend I'm a OU homer, right?
Okay.
Let's just say we win out. We're able to even avenge one of our losses. So K-State or Iowa State. Let's say K-State wins out. They're top 15, top 10, somewhere around there. We're able to avenge that loss in the Big 12 championship. So we basically, you know, we're a 2-loss team. You mentioned Notre Dame. Let's say they lose to Clemson twice. Let's say they lose, and they lose right before the playoff, and they lose bad. Let's say Penn State loses twice. They don't beat Ohio State. So Oklahoma State loses twice. They lose a few. Oregon loses 2. I know they just shut it down and everything, but say there's honestly, it's kind of my fear, but say we're the program that's the most known outside those top 3 that you just named, and the playoffs says, "Hey, man, y'all come on in here."
If I'm on the playoff committee, I'm gonna think back to last year. Yeah, they could have scored 100. Okay, then I'm gonna go to the year before that, because let's be real. If they do it, it's gonna be Alabama, it's gonna be a Clemson, and it's gonna be another SEC team. That's it. So you saying Oklahoma gonna have Ohio State? So it's gonna be Ohio State. If they stay clean, Ohio State, Alabama, Clemson, and then now if you get a 2-loss SEC team, or you gonna put Oklahoma in the mix where they just can't match up.
No,
because
for me, I'm worried, and I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm worried more about the timing. Because say the 2-loss team is Georgia. Say Georgia loses again to Bama in the SEC championship. Is the timing good enough to get them in?
I mean, if Oklahoma run the table and you got a bunch of 2-loss teams, yeah, they'll get put in. Me personally, as a committee, I would probably look outside of it if it was a Power 6 team, like a BYU or Cincinnati or somebody that's sitting out there.
BYU ain't got nobody the rest of the
season. They got no losses or something like that. I would give them a chance just to kind of give the quiet noise on the outside. No way I let Oklahoma come in and play a 2-loss Oklahoma team come in and play Alabama team or Clemson team. It's not gonna be fair. It's not gonna be fair. It'll be like it was last year, and it's nothing against Oklahoma. What we got, I just don't think talent wise you can go play and match up with those guys right now. Man. You know, maybe in a couple years or so you might be able to, but to put them versus an Alabama team who gonna be coming in with the trying to let everybody know, or put them versus Clemson team and Clemson number 1. Now, if Ohio State happen to be number 1 and Oklahoma get in, you might have a shot. You might have a shot to play with them for a little bit. But Alabama or Clemson, I don't see. I don't. I would. If I was Lincoln, I would opt out and go. Let me go play another bowl game. And and some of it is the same. Is the pro? Just say face of the program. Last year you got crushed. You got crushed the year before that. A lot of people gonna say, well, they was in it versus Alabama. No, they wasn't. Alabama gave you a program win. He took care of the program, because when they felt like they wanted to score, they scored. They went down the field and scored. So but a lot can happen, man. It happened a couple years ago where they got in. Well, where the bottom fell out. Penn State lost, and all those guys lost in the last week. They may get lucky. Corona may shut down the Big Ten and have a chance to get in, but it's gonna be interesting. If I'm a committee member, they'll have to go out there and dominate next week, like shut them down next week, defensively wise. Like defensively wise, they have to allow them 17, no more than 21 points, and then come back and just totally shut Oklahoma State down. Then I'll look at them as they got better as a defense. I think the only problem you got is letting them in with not knowing how good that defense really is. What defense is going to show up? Because then you let them in and you get pounded again. Then it's going to be like, well, and when they really do good, when they really get good, do we let them in? We let them in 3 times in a row, and they just didn't show up. So we'll see.
That's a tough one. Yeah, it's a tough predicament for him to be in. And I hate to hear it, but that's the God honest truth. I mean, from everything. So I mean, and you mentioned Bama, man. I don't think Mac gets enough credit, bro. I don't think Mac gets enough credit. He's nice. He
does a good job, man. I mean, and like me is we Oklahoma, like we Oklahoma, and we consider ourselves on the same level as Alabama, and we should be talking.
Yep. Like
we was coming up when we all went through the Oklahoma phase. They was talking about OU football like Alabama, like it was like, hey, these guys, because we had the guys to match up. Now the fall off has just been so bad, and maybe in 1 or 2 spots we can match up, or one of those guys, one of our guys can go be a 3 at Alabama, and not to be a 1. Back then we was coming up, you can go be a 1 over there. So it's just so hopefully we'll get back to where we're in the same breath of Alabama. Where, hey, we can go pound for pound with them. We knew we can go pound, like when they beat them in the Sugar Bowl when Josh Heupel last year as a coordinator, they went pound for pound with them, and those guys went crazy on the outside. The defense striking them had days where they was down there. We had the Sugar Dome. We had the Sugar Bowl rocking. That's what we got to get back to. And it was just a bunch of guys who played hard, who love OU football.
Yeah, no doubt. Man, everybody gonna appreciate your time, and I want to get your thoughts too. You mentioned Leach. I think they got to go to Alabama and them. But man, just talk about what you see happening aside from if it's not us. Is there a program on the outskirts that you see? It doesn't have to be Mississippi State, but I know everybody's kind of thinking maybe like an Oregon or somebody. Is there anybody in the SEC that you think may be creeping up? I doubt it'll be. I hate to think a little bro like that, but I doubt it'll be Oklahoma State.
No, I can see a program creeping up. You got to watch. You got to watch Michigan because they can get hot and they can get going. Yeah, you got to watch Michigan. SEC, you got to watch Georgia just because they got athletes and they can play with them. So you got to watch Georgia and see what they can get done. Florida, when they get back up and running again, will be a team that can get in the way. But right now, Alabama and Clemson look like the top 2 teams, with Notre Dame being right there. Right there underneath them. It's too early to talk about a Big Ten team because they just don't play one weekend. But Ohio State look like the real deal. The real deal. And Penn State, you're gonna find out about Ohio State and Penn State next week. They play next week and they'll get at it. Outside of the Power 5, Cincinnati looks real good. Cincinnati got defense and they can play. They play well. And BYU. I mean, think about I've been on the other side to play BYU. Hey, them grown men now. You forget they be taking 2-year missions and coming back playing. They be grown men playing against college guys, and they just built a little different. So they'll have a chance. They'll have a chance. I think the programs this year that's kind of fell off is the UCFs. Those guys and kind of got UCF and Memphis. I think Tulsa's coming up too. So, but I think with the pandemic, man, it makes everything just wide open. With the coronavirus, just wide open because at any moment, until you get a vaccine, you can be decimated by all your players be gone, and it can change the whole outcome of a game of your game plan. Because as long as you got 50, you got to play.
That's real.
So it's just gonna be interesting, man. The teams that's getting through are the teams that took care of business in the off season as far as with the coronavirus. Make sure those guys are straight. And right now you get down to this end, I don't know how many teams are reporting real symptoms. You trying to get to the end, you trying to win it all. So it may be a couple hush swept underneath the rug to try to keep things going. But college football wild, man. It's wild.
Your boy Dan Mullen, you can comment on it if you want. Said he wanted to fill the swamp.
Man, listen, Dan, Hey, off the record, I can't. Dan know how I feel. Dan know how I feel about it. If he's looking right now, he know. Okay. If I see him in a dark alley, it'll be. Hey, but I mean, great football coach, man, and he wants to, he wanted 80,000 in the stands because he lost versus A&M, which is a competitor in him, but. He talked about COVID. He got it. I wish him the best. Hope he get better. And they get their program back running.
Yeah, man. You mentioned the Ohio State game too, dude. I don't know if you saw it, but Nebraska is a different program. They are physical. Them boys, I saw like 3 or 4 targeting penalties, and it was different. I saw a different mentality from Nebraska.
Yeah, and that's the deal. Like, if you watch everybody, and I'm not saying. Like, we don't have that type of mentality. Like, we don't have that. When I show up, I'm gonna be as violent as possible. When I show up and hit you, we don't have that type of mentality right now. And I think that's something that got to be built. Scott Frost got that mentality. As a player, that's what he was like. Same thing when you go to Alabama. It's that type of program. We out there doing like stupid stuff. We get ran over. We gonna talk noise. I can take you flying in there and coming in a little bit high, hitting them. But we taking we not. That's not us. That's not us. We taking cheap shots. We're not taking shots that's in between the whistles that make you feel physical. And that's just something that bothers me. Like you're saying, if you get into a playoff game, that's gonna be physical, man. Like, that's gonna be a physical game, and we're not gonna have a physical. We don't have a physical team outside of maybe Oklahoma State left that's gonna challenge you physical wise. Texas Tech ain't gonna be a physical game. Like, them dudes it's gonna be finesse. Now they do fly around a little bit in the secondary and try to hit you, but we don't have nobody on our team that try to knock you out on a point base play to play basis. Like last year, you had Kenneth Murray. If he caught you, it was over. You know what I'm saying? If he caught you, it was over. We right now we just kind of missing those guys as far as who we need, who gonna be that physical that physical presence for us. No, you're right though. Dude. The Big Ten, I mean, they was laying some licks. Like, that was a physical football game, man. Like, that was a physical football game. That was a game that guys is gonna be physical.
Martinez was great. A lot of pump fakes and went to his second, third reads. That was awesome. You said it too, Jarrail. I mean, when we get to a playoff game, it's getting to the 20 and scoring and stopping people when they get inside the 20 from scoring. And it's just some of the sets that were when I watch those other teams and I see Bama bring a linebacker in at fullback and I see, them do the tight end motion and run power or ISO. I mean, it's not they're not creating anything crazy. It's just that Najee Harris is hard to tackle when he get going downhill. Clemson's for me, they do a little bit more on the goal line as far as, spacing you out and things like that. But I mean, it's not rocket science when you get down there, but it's just hard for the people to stop it. I mean, it's hard.
Yeah, just be as physical possible. But like overall, if you watch like the receivers from Bama, he caught a post across the middle. He saw the DB coming. He tried to punish him. Like that's that whole mentality of just being physical. Like, and I think we got to get back to being just hey, we the bully on the block, man. You gonna come tackle me? I'm gonna try to run through you. No, I'm trying to run through you. And on offense, I think they semi trying to get it back with the run game, and this coming defense is just you got to find a leader on defense who really is that guy that leads by laying big hits and doing what he's supposed to do. Mm-hmm. It was Kenneth Murray last year, and those guys and stuff like that. You got some experienced guys in the secondary. That's why, it kind of makes you think, because you still got the Justin Broyles and the Pat Fields and those guys who've been around who should know what the culture is like. Who should know how to bring that wood when they need to bring it. So, hopefully they'll get it, man, and we'll be talking like, hey, the next couple of weeks, they came in, they was a physical team. I don't know, but we should.
So I got to get your thoughts because I know you know all these guys. So congrats to Dennis Simmons, got a new commit, Talon Chetron from Edmond Santa Fe. Kid can go. Met him one time, just awesome kid. Congrats to Coach. But then also the series is at the end of the game. Perry and Winfrey pushes the kid down, or actually it was before that, where we were kneeling the balls first and second down, and
timeout.
Gary Patterson calls timeout. So, even before that, on the TV they had mentioned that Gary had a bruh standing right in front of him because he thought that Lincoln and them was stealing his signs, maybe Grinch, whoever. So you got that. Then you got we run first and second down knee, and he calls timeout on third and fourth down. Then we kick off. Perry and Winfrey pushes their kid down. What do you think of the last series? What do you think was going on behind coaches, mics, and all?
Man, hey, knowing Gary Patterson, man, he old school. He don't like taking whoop L's like that, especially from coaches. So he may have thought they had a signal. His defense hasn't been as good as it been in the past couple of years, so he kind of take that kind of person. The taking of a knee, I mean, the calling timeout, that's just a coach, man, just not trying to wave a white flag, man. I guess. I mean, it's just. I guess it's his nature, man. He just didn't want to finally give in, then concede to it. And Lincoln did the right thing, keep the field goal on him, and stuff like that. It made it 3, and then, at the end of the game, we just got to be smart, man. Like, just the scoreboard's already speaking for itself, man. No need to add, no need to get a penalty or something like that. Just kind of let it go, man. And some coaches like that, man. Some coaches, I've been with some coaches who say they're not gonna take a timeout until they're not gonna leave without they timeouts on the board. And shoot, I know Leaston called. We was down by like 40, and he called 3 timeouts back to back. Just because he didn't want to take it, he didn't want to leave on the board. And then I've been with Dan. Where Dan just kind of if it was over, it was over. Let's get out here and go play football. So, but it's that was crazy, man. That was crazy. That's just an old school coach, man, who just took an L, man. Just took an L and just couldn't handle getting beat by a young coach like that, and it's been what 6 in a row.
Yeah, he
didn't took like that, so it was just that was I don't think neither one of them have ill will feelings about it, because they didn't have a long conversation, because if you had ill will like Day scored a touchdown right at the end, he came out and apologized because he felt bad, but I think that was half-ass apology, like he was just trying to send a message, right. It just be like that sometimes. You like Leach. We was up and we kept throwing the football, and he did it for a reason. It's not my job to keep the score down. It's your job to stop me. So period. You got guys that do that. So I don't think it was a big deal, man. I think it was just awful. I think it was an old school guy, man, who wasn't used to losing. And to young and Lincoln, Lincoln did look a little pissed off now after the first time out, like. Come on, man. Let's get up out of here. Mm-hmm. So I think that's just, like I said, old school guy kind of on the end of his leash, man, and just kind of don't want to concede and, don't want his team to feel like he just sold them out.
Hey, I get it. The only post-game conversation I heard was my second game at home. Franchione was shaking Bob's hand. This was after we beat Alabama. And, they had kicked the opening kick was an onside. They high onside it. They ran a fake field goal for a touchdown. They blocked a punt for a touchdown. Somehow we end up coming back and winning it. We get the shovel pass to Works. Keywan scores a touchdown. Bassey gets the touchdown. I walk over there. I hear Franchione say, "You're lucky we're wearing a Tuscaloosa, or I'd have kicked your ass." and I mean, but it was just you mentioned how those coaches talk. I mean, it ain't. They ain't sitting there talking violence, but it is a competitive deal, and they take it to heart, man. They're gonna let them know how they feel right after the game. But unfortunately for him, that was the following year he went to A&M and got on the opposite hand at 77-0.
Hey, no, them handshakes be funny, man. Like especially with the guys I did work for, man. We played our first year, our second year at Washington State. We played Idaho, and we was kicking them up and down the field. So we take out our ones. And we got freshmen in. They put they ones back in, and they go down the field on a drive. That's maybe a minute left to go. Leach calls timeout and put our ones back in, and stops them. So we go to shake hands. He was like, "That was a real classy move." So Leach, and he walked off. So Leach sprints and grabs his hand, shakes hand. No, motherfucker, what you did was a real classy move. So from here on out, he gonna be getting his ass whooping. Hey, here's the crazy thing about it. They stay 2 houses down from each other.
I love it.
So I mean, it's those handshakes be funny, man. Like sometimes, I mean, and sometimes it can set the tone for your team the next week if you get into it with them, and they feel like you coach ain't back down. Like I said, working for Leach, man, you didn't hurt a bunch of them, man. You didn't hurt a bunch of them. You know, he'll sometimes he won't shake their hand, but you know, it's all in fun and games.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey, man, I appreciate your time. Let everybody know what you're up to and what you expect from you know, I know you talked about with Texas Tech, but what you would say to the team coming up.
Oh, man, you know, if I'm getting ready to go to Texas Tech, hey, let's continue to play sound football. Offensively wise, let's take care of the football. Let's be physical. In the back end, hey, let's cut up front. Just continue to do what you're doing. Continue to put pressure on them. Continue to get after them. You know, my secondary guys, hey, play sound, play aggressive, play smart. Play sound, play aggressive, play smart. Play the football. You know, they got a bunch of big receivers. They're going to try to throw – understand what you're going to get. You're going to get jump balls. You know, David Yost was at Washington State with us. He knows Grinch inside and out. So you'll get a bunch of jump balls. You know, they're gonna throw a jump ball up there, let you got to go compete for it. You know, and stuff like that. So that's kind of what you got to expect.
Yeah, that's it.
Hold on.
I know you're busy. That's probably Lincoln calling you right now. Like, hey, don't be putting me on the glass and doing all that.
Hold on, here you go.
Yeah, okay.
I should be back. No. Hey, so like the biggest thing is just those guys gotta go compete. And then right now, man, we down in Tyler, getting ready to have some fun. Tyler Junior College just scrimmaging right now. You know, we got we'll scrimmage the next week and be out of there. You know, down here just playing like, you know, running straight air raid. I added the fullback since we got a tight end who can play in that hybrid role, and it's been pretty good. You know, kid's been real receptive. Got a quarterback who started at Illinois as a freshman. Got 2 receivers on the outside that some D1 bounce back. So we got some talent. The bad thing is some of these guys that graduate December not getting no tape. So that's kind of making it bad. So, but the scrimmages and stuff like that has been pretty good. Stuff like that. So, you know, hopefully this week Texas Tech, they go down there and get a win, man, and get at it. You know, sorry, you know, we ain't had no one-liners for the fans this week, you know, because they played decent. You know, we ain't had no one-liners for the viewers, right, you know, so to give them to laugh at. But they still need to stay off Twitter.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, hey, I still ain't seen enough physicality. I ain't happy with being a 2 and 3 yard team unless people are feeling it. I'm for real. You know what I mean? I mean, right. We Oklahoma. Didn't nobody tell me we was a young team in 2005 when we had a young quarterback and we had AD was hurt and all these things. No, they were calling the radio station and trying to get everybody moved up out of here. So I mean, you know, I didn't get any excuses. Nobody gets excuses around here.
Yeah, no, don't feel sorry for him, man. We don't feel sorry for him. We was there in the rough day, especially when I was there. We was getting our head beat in, man. So I don't feel sorry for them. They just got to keep playing.
Yeah, man. Much love, Coach JJ. After we get this W from Tech, we're going to have you back on here.
All right, appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Another great episode of Fullback U.